Hey TLTers, how you doing? This is Alex with the Linux Tube. Today we're going to talk about GeckoLinux. GeckoLinux is a distribution based on OpenSUSE's Tumbleweed. The same developer that developed Spiral Linux has created this one. In fact, I believe the GeckoLinux was his first one, and Spiral Linux was his second creation. But both have the same mindset involved in the purpose of creation. And that is to keep it very simple for somebody who installs the distribution of Linux, as in OpenSUSE and Debian, to have little to no setup whatsoever. By them, whether you're a new user or a veteran user, it's the same level playing field. You will do the same with each one. You basically install it and you're good to go, because everything that you're going to need to get it set up and running to run appropriately will already be there. The distributions are clean, they're snappy, and they're very responsive, and this developer's work is amazing, very amazing. He emailed me before, well, I was requested to do a review by a subscriber, a channel subscriber. I had already did the Spiral Linux review, so you can go to the channel and check out that video if you'd like. While you're there, like, join, and subscribe if you already haven't. I emailed him to ask if there's anything that I should include in this video of the review for GeckoLinux, and he told me, in a nutshell, it's the same theory and principle behind his release and distribution Spiral Linux, and the thought process is the same, and that he in fact is in the middle of doing some touch-ups on the latest releases that are getting ready to come out. So those of you who are GeckoLinux fans, be prepared, because he's got some new releases coming out very, very shortly. He did not give me an exact date, but you know, it's coming out. He's in the middle of work. He's putting the final touches on them, quote unquote. So it should be very soon that it's coming out. So look forward to that. I also requested a tiling manager from him to see if he could set up because he's got, you know, XFCE, Mate, all that stuff, as you'll see in the review, different desktop environments, but no tiling window manager. So I'm a tiling window manager kind of guy. So I'm hoping he does that, because I will probably jump to that for sure. No questions asked. I mean, his work is that good. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy how easily set up it is, how maintenance free it is. So if he does with the tiling manager what he's done with these other spins, that's going to be amazing. It really will be amazing. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a dive into the review and look and see what GeckoLinux is looking like today, as of now. And here it is. This is the webpage for GeckoLinux. You can find it at geckolinux.github.io. Let's go ahead and welcome to GeckoLinux. GeckoLinux is a Linux spin. Notice he uses that same word, spin. And the reason why he uses spin is because it is not a legitimate distribution. What he's known to do, and what he wants to do, and the way he wants to keep it this way, is he bases it off of the actual OpenSUSE, either Leap, because it has both the stable version as well as the rolling release version, which Leap is the stable version, or the LTS version, and Tumbleweed is the actual rolling release version. So what he does, he bases his spins off of either the Leap or the Tumbleweed version of OpenSUSE, and he does this with the purpose and the intent that he doesn't have to constantly maintain his spins. Basically, whenever they make a major upgrade of any kind, or whichever thing, he just simply implements it then. But as far as like the actual software core base of itself being updated, the packages and that stuff, it automatically does it with every update that either Leap or Tumbleweed gets. So it really decreases the amount of time that he has to spend in coding and programming, as well as the actual amount of people that he needs, since he's a one-man show that does it all. That's the reason why he does it this way. So that's why he calls it a spin, which is based on the OpenSUSE distribution with a focus on polish and out-of-the-box usability on the desktop. Like I said, he wants to make it easy for everybody to just install. You're running and having a great time. It is available in the static base, which is the LTS version, and the rolling base, which is the Tumbleweed edition. GeckoLinux features is an installable live DVD or USB image, just like any other thing, any other distribution out there. Individual editions for many different popular desktop environments, which we'll go take a look at that here in a moment. Carefully selected open source packaged programs and proprietary media codecs pre-installed. So if you are a FOSS kind of guy, this distribution contains proprietary media codecs, more than likely stuff for like NVIDIA and some, media codecs. So at any instance, that might be something to consider. Beautiful open source font rendering, optimal power management with TLP already pre-installed, many more open source and patent encumbered software available in the pre-configured repositories. How is it different from OpenSUSE? GeckoLinux comes with an offline installable live DVD USB image for both versions, the rolling release and the LTS. Whereas OpenSUSE does not have a live DVD USB installer. It has a net installer. GeckoLinux offers customized editions optimized for different desktop environments, whereas OpenSUSE requires a user to actually install each desktop. So basically, you get a black desktop where you can launch terminal, and within terminal you do the sudo zipper install KDE or GNOME or GNOME, whichever it is that you want to do. GeckoLinux comes pre-installed with common niceties such as proprietary media codecs. That's what I was saying earlier. Whereas OpenSUSE, for legal reasons, requires users to know how to add those, which means you have to go to the repositories, find the non-restricted or the non-free repository and install it that way, or go to GitHub or GitLab and download them and compile it yourself. GeckoLinux prefers packages from the Pacman repo, not to be confused with the PACMAN of Arch Linux, but the Pacman repo, which uses zipper as the command line, not apt as you would with Synaptic Package Manager. Whereas some of the OpenSUSE's default packages do not work with patent restricted features. GeckoLinux, Pacman is also the non-free repo too as well. Point in case. GeckoLinux comes pre-configured with what many would consider to be a good font rendering, whereas many users find OpenSUSE's default font configuration to be less than desirable. He pretty much, in a nutshell, I don't want to read it all, but because it's a lot that he's done. He's done a lot. Spiral Linux, I did check out the video on Spiral Linux as well that I did. He's done a beautiful job with that, and once again, he's done another beautiful job here with OpenSUSE. He took OpenSUSE, which, like he said, was less desirable. It was what it was, and made it into something beautiful. His spin is fantastic. So don't be afraid to use it. Anyhow, if you come down further on these are the static editions. In the static editions, he's got Cinnamon, XFCE, GNOME, Plasma, Mate or Mate, Budgie, LXQT, and Bare Bones, which is once again the actual black desktop where you launch terminal and you have zero desktop environment. You do everything through terminal. And then in the rolling releases, the Tumbleweed version of it, he has Cinnamon, XFCE, GNOME, Plasma, Mate, LXQT, Budgie, Pantheon, and Bare Bones. Pantheon is awesome. It's very beautiful too. It's a very beautiful desktop environment as well. So it's interesting that he included that one as well, because once again, I think that's right on par with what he's doing. What I'm running is the LXQT version, because I hadn't done LXQT in quite a while. So it's based off of QT. It's a nice desktop environment. But anyhow, he's got Pantheon in there, which is nice. Then he's also got the Next editions. GeckoLinux Next editions have a stable OpenSUSE Leap base combined with OBS repositories to offer the latest version of the popular desktop environment. So in those downloads, he has it available in Plasma and Pantheon. So that's a look at his webpage and how to do it. Of course, on his webpage, he's got his documentation. So should you need to know anything, you can click on documentation. It takes you to the webpage, to the GitHub informational page. Also, if you go back, he's got bugs, so you can submit bug reports to him. Forums, and news. In the news section, when you click on it and you go down, these are the new component versions that he updated in it in this latest release that he did, which he included the Linux 5.16 kernel, Pipewire, the Firefox 96 version, Cinnamon 5.2, Plasma for KD and KDE, which is the 5.25, and GNOME is GNOME 41 that is available. So if you want to find out what he's done in those, you can certainly read here as well. Uh, his documentation is superb. I've known many other distributions out there that are just not, up to par with documentation. It's pretty much a hunt and peck. You got to figure stuff out. Gen 2. At any instance, I've been reading in a lot of different forums where other users are having a problem with that particular distribution because very confusing documentation. The only thing that I would like to suggest is, with all these wonderful desktops, maybe he could do a tiling window manager, desktop environment, like, either i3 or awesome window manager or BWSPM, just something that'd be kind of interesting to see too. I mean, I really love his distributions. I'm an actual tiling window manager, and really I would love to see him put together an actual tiling window manager distribution with all the little details and stuff that he includes. It would be amazing because it would probably be completely set up where you would have to do very little configuration at all to customize it. It'd probably be done right out the bat. So that's my request. Uh, Shameless plug for a window tiling manager kind of guy. In any instance, that is what we have to look at for his page. Now, as you can see, I have NeoFetch installed, and we're running the OpenSUSE Tumbleweed version. This one has the RPM. It's got 1,499 packages involved. It is the kernel 5.16. It is the LXQT, obviously, with the open box window manager, which is not a tiling window manager, but it's a window manager. The theme is Numix. I have given this 8 gigs of RAM and 6 cores for CPU. Now, this is what you get when you log in, right from the desk, right from the login manager. This is the desktop you're greeted with, which you can install different languages. If you click on this up here, you got to give it your root password because it's going to write a configuration file. And it is installing. Holy balls. So I clicked on that and to just install the language in here, and it downloaded the language packs, but in order to do that, it wanted to do a complete system upgrade because apparently it needed a new system upgrade, and as per standard RPM crawl along speed, that took about 20 minutes to do. So now it's installed. The language packs are installed. So what you do is you click on here, you go to preferences, and you go to the software management, type in your sudo password because you're going to do sudo privileges to be able to execute these commands. And then if you go over here to the language tab, here are all the different languages that you can install from around the world. So, and that's how you would install whichever traditional language it is that you speak that you would like to install. And that, well, while we're at it, this is a look at the actual software manager. So if you want to install a program, you can click on the search tab, and let's say OBS. We're looking for OBS. Hit that, and in here with anything that has OBS is going to come along. OBS services, OBS Studio right here is what you want to click on, and it'll download and install that as well. And all what you do is you click on it, you do install, and you hit accept down here in the bottom right hand corner, and that'll install OBS. I do not want to install anything because RPM package manager is very slow, and in the name of this video, to try to keep it short, I don't want to do any of that. So that is a look at the software. Yes, that is software package manager. So anyhow, that's how you can install languages with the language installer. The bottom has your panel. your standard panel. Set up just like Cinnamon, set up just like KDE, just like all of them, where it has your app launcher on the left, your file manager here, and your web browser here for your quick menu. And then on the left here, on the right, has your system tray along with your time and date as well. It's got your typical volume manager. It's got your removable devices. When you plug them in, it'll show up there. It's got your clipboard manager, also your settings. If you want to, any recent notifications will come up through there. And also got your internet connection where it tells you which type you've got, where you can control your internet. So we're going to go ahead and click on the file manager, which it uses, I believe, PCFM file manager. I am correct. And it's version 1.0. So that's a quick look at it. As per every standard file manager, it's got your locations up here, your address bar. On the left side, it's got your icons that you can switch back and forth between, like, say, desktop, your regular home folder. If you go to networks for like your Samba, whichever you want. Also applications. It takes you to different applications. So it's just your typical file manager. Nothing really to explain there. Firefox is your standard Firefox. Let's open it up. And we're going to go, and I believe it should be the 96. It's the 102.2 version. So that got updated from the 96, I believe that it said in the on the web page. But either way, it's the 102 version, so it's a pretty new, up-to-date version of Firefox. Also, if you click your application launch manager, it's got your accessories, which has your Ngrampa archive manager, not ARC. It's got your calculator, your mate search tool, which is pretty cool. Basically what this is this will let you search for files and folders anywhere in your system. You can select different folders too, like you can go to the complete file system if you want to search for something, or if you just want to search your home folder, you can search it right there. It's actually a pretty nice little tool. Saves me a lot of time sometimes. Then you have mousepad and of course the file manager. Under graphics, it comes with document scanner, drawing, LXI image, which is like your image viewer. It's got LibreOffice Office Draw in it, and also Pix as well. Under internet, we have Firefox, Pigeon, Thunderbird, and Transmission. Office, as said before, it's got Q PDF View, and it's also got, which is a Qtile version of PDF Viewer. It's also got LibreOffice installed at the box. Under other, we have YAST software, which is, YAST stands for yet another software tool. And so it uses root command functions, so you got to put in your root password. And to open it up, this is what it's doing. You can literally configure... Oh, my bad. Yeah, this is the installation software. Sorry, to install packages. If you go under preferences over here, you have the YAST files here for configuring everything from alternatives to your bootloader. If you click on it, watch this. And this is dangerous because once again you're committing to sudo privileges, root privileges. You can actually configure and change your bootloader from the bootloader code from grub2 to whatever. Kernel parameters. This is where you can change it from being a quiet screen where it's just black and then it loads in to your DM manager, your login manager. You also your bootloader options as to which kernels you want to, set for defaults. Kind of like your grub customizer in GNOME. It's a tool that you can use to do any type of customization for your entire file, like even your snapshots, your firewall, keyboard language, media check, everything. You can customize everything. You can even customize sudo with it. So at the very top you have LXQT settings, which is your configuration center, which is basically just like your GTK LX appearance tool, which you can adjust all your things from screensaver to your customize and feel, like icons and themes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really nice. in that aspect. It's got so much that you can do with it right out the box with the configuration. And under system tools, we have your regular network configuration, your file manager as well. Gparted is the disk utility software that's in that it comes with it. Your partition manager. You have your print management application is your HP device manager. So it comes completely set up right out the box with support for HP printers. And the terminal that it uses is the Q terminal, which is the LXQT terminal or Qtile terminal. And it's got task manager as well. Under preferences, we've already went over that. And about LXQT, if you click on that, it'll tell you a little bit about the LXQT, also the authors, and any technical info that you need. You can click on there and it'll give you that as well. So if you're submitting a bug report, you want to include this with your bug report. This is a very nice, lightweight distro that is very, 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 very beautiful. It's using, look at this, it's using only like hardly any of my CPU. Let me open this up a little bit bigger here. It's using barely any CPU usage, and for memory, it's using a little over half a gig of RAM. So it's very lightweight, and that's the thing about LXQT that is it's supposed to be as lightweight, much like XFCE. The window manager itself, OpenBox, is designed to be lightweight as well. It's a beautiful desktop. Once again, this developer has pretty much so batted 1,000 with it. I mean, he just knocked it out of the park with this distribution. I mean, it's not his fault that the RPM takes forever to update. I'm sure if he could make it faster, he would. It's not like Arch, which is like lightning fast once you to customize an update. But all in all, this is definitely a desktop that I would recommend to new to Linux users, because it's completely set up, or any vets that are just looking to install something that's real quick, light, and can get down and dirty with it right away. This is definitely, a nice go-to distribution of Linux. There's no questions asked that this developer is on par for this one, as well as the Spiral Linux spin that he has. I'm looking forward to any other spins that he makes, especially if he can make that tiling one. I will immediately switch to that from him, because it's really, he hits them all the stuff that you need out of him right out the box so well. He definitely has a knowledge of what people are looking for. And so with that, I say, hey, you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Linux distribution and keep on Linuxing. Thanks for all your guys' support. Really, really appreciate it. If you get a chance, visit us on any of the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and also Facebook at The Linux Tube. Also, pop on over to our Patreon.com page, our Patreon page, which is The Linux Tube over there. You can search for us over there and support us that way. And also, go check out our store, thelinuxtube.shop. We've got all kinds of stuff over there, from hats, clothes, blankets, pillows, water bottles, everything. Backpacks. The backpack's pretty cool. It's a growing thing, so I'm adding more and more different items that you can choose from as far as styles, from funny Linux memes as well as just the regular branding of the channel. So if you guys have any suggestions or comments, please drop them down below. Please like and subscribe. Also share with your friends. And yeah, thanks for all that you guys do. Without you guys, the Linux Tube wouldn't be possible.